Hey, how are you doing? So, welcome to course number 1. We're going to get started with our courses. The topic for this course is the danger of being silent and why you should speak out. What I'm going to go over in this course would be 4 points. I have 4 points that I want to make sure that I touch base on. Point number 1 would be being silent will empower your oppressor. Point number 2 would be you become trapped. Point number 3 is speaking out frees you. And point number 4 is speaking out holds you accountable. So we're going to get started. And let's get right into it. I want to come to you from a biblical standpoint, which that's where most of pretty much all my standpoints are coming from, would be biblical. As I stated before in previous videos, I'm not here to convert you, but I am here to educate you and to give you knowledge. And if you up for education and you are up for being more knowledgeable about how to go about doing things in your life, well, you have came to the right place. First off, I want to read from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 6. And it says, and that in this matter no one should wrong or take advantage of a brother or sister. The Lord will punish all those who commit such sins, as we told you and warned you before. What that scripture is talking about is it's about living to please God. What I am talking about is, yes, you should live to please God. But if you are in a situation where you are oppressed, how can you live to please God? And that's the whole point of this topic and the whole point of this video. I want to help you to identify what is going on with you, as well as what can you do to kind of start and get the ball rolling. So please bear with me as I educate you on this, but I want to make sure that you get a full understanding on what is happening and what has been told to you. First off, you need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When you are transformed, your mind, it takes place in your mind first. Everything takes place in your mind first, and then it trickles down to your actions. And after your action, it comes back to your mind, because you contemplate on what happened in the situation that you took action on, and it's back in your mind. Being transformed by the renewing of your mind, you have to think differently from the way you thought before. You cannot think the same thoughts the same way and expect something differently to happen to you, because all that's going to take place is that you're going to continue to perform in the same way that you have done before. So that scripture, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 6, is talking about that each person is responsible for their own actions. You taking advantage of another person, God is not pleased with that, and he will punish that person for taking advantage of his children, of his creation. So my point number 1 is being silent will empower your oppressor. So females, ladies, okay, if you are in a domestic violence situation, which pretty much you are, because that's what this whole platform is for, domestic violence and women who are going through a current situation and want to come out of it. Also, those who have already came out of the situation, but they haven't been set free mentally. So this particular topic is for you to understand why you should speak out. Keeping yourself quiet is not helping your situation at all. When you are being silent and you're not talking, you're actually empowering your oppressor. You're giving your oppressor power. You're feeding him energy, like electricity. You're constantly giving him the energy to power himself up to continue to oppress you, to abuse you, to utilize you and brutalize you in any form that he chooses to do so. So in this matter, you have to think about, should you talk or should you stay quiet? If you have been quiet this entire time, where have it gotten you so far? Ask yourself the question, like, what really have taken place so far in your life where you can say, I've gotten to this point by being quiet? Now, you should stay quiet on certain things. And let me explain to you more deeply about speaking out, because just running your mouth to the person, to your oppressor, is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is sharing your situation with somebody else. Speaking out, allowing someone else to know what's going on in your life, in your marriage, in your relationship to your boyfriend. It will help you to gain confidence that you're not alone, that you have somebody who have your back and that's willing to help you get out of your situation and put you in a better situation where you could grow. And I'm not talking about going to another person as far as another relationship. No. What I'm saying is, if you can speak to your dad, if you can speak to your mom, if you can speak to an authority figure like the police officer, or if you can speak to a counselor or someone that you can honestly just say, look, this is what's going on in my life and I need help. And then they can say, okay, tell me what's going on. And then you can spill it out and let them know what's happening. From that point, you pretty much weaken your oppressor. No, he don't know that you're talking to another person, but you weaken his strength, because when it's all said and done, you're going to have a team standing behind you to help you and to fight with you. And trust me, you're greater than in numbers than you are by yourself. And he won't be able to do much to you anymore. That is the reason why speaking out is so powerful, that it takes away the power from your oppressor. Now, what is an oppressor? An oppressor is any authority, a group, or a person that uses its power unjustly to keep people under control. That is what an oppressor is. So if he's keeping you under control with his power and you probably say, okay, what power do he have? Okay, he has his mouth where he can belittle you and talk crazy to you and make you feel less than a woman. And then you start believing that. In your mind, you start saying, well, I'm not really a woman because I can't please my husband and he's always mad all the time. Or I can't please my boyfriend, he's mad at me all the time. Well, now that's his power. It's mind control. Then his next power would be physical. Now he's hitting you. He's shoving you around. He's choking you. He's slamming you around. He's shaking you. And he's physically punching you. Now that is what I'm saying. A man is stronger than a woman. And his body strength, especially his upper body strength, is more powerful than yours. So you can't just do what he do to you. Now there are some women who are strong and they can toss a man around, but that is neither there. Is not even what I'm discussing. I'm discussing for those of you who are oppressed. So you have to take into consideration that what is he saying to you? What's going on in your mind that you're repeating, that he said to you, that you're repeating back to yourself? when you stop repeating those words back to yourself, you're transforming your mind to start believing the opposite of what he said. So let's give you an example. If he's saying, "Are you just weak? You ain't good for nothing." This is what you do in that matter. You tell yourself, "I'm strong. I am better than all. I am very good at what I am capable of doing." Okay, so point number 2 is you become trapped. When you are in a domestic violence situation, you become trapped because you love that person. You genuinely love him and you want him to change. You want him to get better. You want him to treat you better. But the problem is that he's not going to do better, and he's not going to treat you better, and he's not going to change. As long as he is able to control you and get what he wants from you the way he wants it from you, he's not going to change. Why should he change when he's getting everything he wants the way he wants it? So you yourself need to change. You got to set yourself free. You got to come out of that trap. You got to put yourself in a mindset where you tell yourself, no one is controlling this up here. These thoughts, bring every thought into captivity. These thoughts that he's putting in my head, I'm going to capture those thoughts and I'm going to give them to God. I'm going to throw them away and I'm going to let God deal with that while I create thoughts in my head that are pleasant, that are uplifting, that lifts you up. You have to think the opposite of what he's saying. Now, he's putting his hands on you physically. This is a part where you yourself have to think about how can you get out of that. My point number 3 is speaking out loud will free you. So when you go to an authority that can help you, authority figure that can help you, such as the police, even the hospital, you can go to a doctor, a nurse, they're reported for you. Then you have these shelters that you can go to and say, look, I need to be in a shelter. I need to get away from this man. I don't need him to know where I'm at. I need to get out of this situation. He's abusive. He's put these bruises on me, or he have put bruises on me before. I'm not safe with him. I need help. What you're doing is you're setting yourself free and you're getting out of the trap that he set for you and put you in. So I say he put you in it, but the reality is that you put yourself in that trap, because the way you think about yourself, the thoughts that goes through your mind and what you believe about yourself allowed yourself to be in a trap and stay there. You have to think differently about yourself. You have to think strongly about yourself, and you have to put yourself in, you got to put yourself on a higher pedestal, so that way you can't fall into these traps where you're constantly being beat down and brutalized and demeaned. And you really have to think about where you want to be in the next 5 years. Do you really, not even 5 years, where you want to be next year? Do you want to go through this again in a new year? So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is this man worth it? Is he worthy of me to be set in this trap where I allow this man to treat me like dirt, or to treat me like a caged animal that is clawing to get free? So once you speak out, point number 4 is speaking out will hold you accountable. Once you have spoken out and you have told an authorities figure and you said, look, this is what's happening to me. I need help, and this person is treating me like this and treating me like that. This man, he is just abusive. He talks crazy to me. He doesn't help me. I just need out of this. Well, guess what? What's going to happen after that? You yourself is going to be held accountable to what happens next. Because once they show up, like let's say if you go to the police and the police say, okay, we're going to put you in handcuffs because we're taking you to jail for the abuse of, for domestic violence and assault against your wife or your girlfriend or, you know, the mother of your child, your children. What's going to happen is that they're going to press charges against him. Now, you can't go back and say, I don't want you to arrest him. I want to just be out of the relationship. No, baby, it doesn't work like that. He really is going to go to jail. And he needs to be set behind bars long enough to start thinking about his actions towards you and your children and your family. And most of the time, they don't change. I'm being honest with you. They go behind bars and talk crazy to you in a letter or try to call you and talk crazy to you on the phone. And if they can't get through to you by talking crazy to you over the phone, then he'll try to talk as nice as possible to lure you back in, because that's what a snake does. They sneaky. And he'll try to talk as nicely as he can talk to lure you back in to where you find yourself back in that trap. Well, that's when you yourself need to make the decision to cut him off completely. No communication. Even if he is the father of your children, you might have to find yourself by yourself without that man in your life. Because I tell you, like my grandma used to tell me, all money ain't good money. And she used to say that because you might say, well, I need him to help me support my children. Well, does it come with a heavy price? Because if he's giving you money to support those kids, what else is he giving to you while he's giving you the money? Does it come with a heavy price? And if it does, then all money isn't good money. This is where Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11 and verse 12 come in at. And to make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, you should mind your own business and work with your hands, just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody. When you are not dependent on that man to supply financial for you, excuse me, I gotta drink something. Get my orange juice. Okay, when you are not relying on him to support you in any type of financial way, and you're able to work and make your own money, pay your own bills, take care of your children with the money that you're making. And sometimes you might have to get 2 jobs. It just happens that way. My mom worked 2 jobs for years until she was able to just retire at age 50. She set herself up nicely to where she bought a home, paid it off, bought some land, paid it off, and said, okay, look, I am going to retire and I'm going to live off my retirement money. Not that she was going through any domestic violence situation with my dad or anybody. It's just she had a plan, and that plan worked for her. So that's what you would have to do. You would have to make a plan for yourself. Think about your future. How would you plan to be able to be set free and set free for life away from a man who is abusive? Excuse me. To set yourself free from a person who is abusive, your oppressor. Once you have came up with a plan and you know this is what you're going to do, I would say write it down, but you don't want to write something that can end up in that person's hands, because once he see your plan, all hell can break loose. You don't want that. So sometimes you might have to think these thoughts in your mind and keep it there, but don't talk about your plan unless you're telling the person who's helping you to escalate your plan and get it done. If that person is not the one that's helping you in the process, don't tell them. What you don't want is to send out the wrong message or give the wrong information to somebody who is not going to be helping you to become set free. they might end up hurting you more than anything, because the last thing you need is to talk to a person who knows your oppressor and they tell them. That would be a disaster. So some things you must keep to yourself. You must lead a quiet life in that way. But you have to work with your hands. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. In my first marriage, I remember I wasn't working. Right before we got married, I was working. I had been working since I was 14 years old. I remember when we got married, when I married my first husband, when we got married, he didn't want me to work. He wanted to be the man of the house, you know? We was young, 24 years old. So I thought that was cool. Like, what? You want to take care of me? Sure. But it came with a heavy price. The price was that he was controlling the finance. He was controlling the money. Yeah, he took care of the bills and everything, but when it came down to me being able to buy myself things such as clothing or something that I wanted for myself, I had to go to him for the money. I need some money. That's not the way you want to live your life. So I decided, you know what? I can't do this. I'm going to get a job and I'm going to work. I'm going to buy whatever I want with my own money because I'm not going to do this. So I ended up getting a job, and he found out that I was working. He didn't like it, and he tried to get me fired. Okay, you would think that's the craziest thing ever, but it's true. He tried to get me fired. My first day at my job, when I was working overnight, I was working a graveyard shift. So when I came home to sleep during the day, he took my car and left. So I had to get up about 2 o'clock in the afternoon to get dressed to leave to go back, so I can get ready for work. I realized my car was gone. I called them and I said, "Hey, where's my car?" And he was like, "Oh, I got your car." I said, "Why?" Because he had his own vehicle too. And I'm like, "Then where's your car?" And he was like, "Oh, I got that too. So you got both of the vehicles." And he was like, "Yeah, and I hope you get fired." That's when I realized that he did it on purpose. So when I called the police, I did, because I felt like he stole my car. I had the car before we got married, so I was thinking like, that's my car, Police told me, "I'm sorry, that's a civil matter. You will have to take him to court." What the hell? I was serious. Like, what are you talking about? That's my car. He stole it. He said, "No, y'all married." He got a key to it. So there's nothing I can do about that. Oh, I had a plan. I'm going to tell you my plan, because I ain't never told nobody this plan except for a few people, because I didn't want it to get back to his ears. But now things are different now, so it doesn't matter. It was years ago. So I had a plan. Let me tell you my plan, because this worked, and it worked well. So we had just moved to Houston, Texas, and I didn't know many people there, but I am very, what you call, I attract people to me in a good way. But also I can say in a bad way, because I can attract the wrong people too. I had to learn and ask the Holy Spirit for the spirit of discernment to discern spirits and what that person coming to me for. But that's another topic. So what ended up happening, I met this guy and he liked me, and I know he did, but I told him, "Hey, I'm married, I'm not trying to, get involved with you like that, nothing like that, whatever. But I needed help to get my car back." I met him probably a month before all that situation happened with my car. I end up going into my phone and I saw his number, because I did take his number down. I don't know why I took his number. Oh, I do know why I took his number. This is what he said to me. He said, "I understand that you're married, but hey, everybody need a friend, and just take my number and maybe one day we can be friends." I took his number. Not saying that's the right thing to do, but at this point, it was the right thing to do. So I took his number, and I remember going through my phone, and I saw his phone number, and I called him up, and I say, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, I'm just doing nothing with my son," and his son was a teenager at the time. And I said, "I need your help. I need to go find my car. I have an idea where my husband may be at with my car. I have to go to work." But he was like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" I said, "I need you to come and get me and drive me by the area. We're not going to go to the house or in the apartments, but we're going to drive by the area just so I can see if I can see my vehicle like going towards the streets. And he's like, okay, cool, this is cool. He thought for some reason he was excited about this. Like, this is cool, this is gonna be fun. And then he told his son was like, all right, Dad, let's go get her car. So I remember they came and picked me up, and I put on all black like a ninja. I had my face covered up. Y'all talking about face masks and stuff? Oh, I had all this. I was covered up. I made sure that I wasn't going to be spotted. And I say, look, park over here across the street. I'm going to walk through the gates. I'm going to walk over here and see if I see my car. I did all that, and I saw my car, and I was looking upstairs. I saw the lights was on in the apartment. And I saw that he was like in that room, but he couldn't see me. So I took my keys. I started my car up. I didn't turn the lights on. I went on and drove out of there, and I ended up flashing the lights at, the new friend and say, I got my car, and I took off. I didn't go home. Trust me, I didn't go home. I went to another friend's house, a female friend. I went to her house, and I met her through my husband at the time because he was cool with her husband. And I knew that if I went over there, that I would be protected because her husband wasn't down for that domestic violence stuff. He wasn't down with that. He like, you come over here with that mess, we're going to have problems. So I knew to go over there, and that's why I went. Long story short, I had a plan, and I escalated my plan, and I did it out of braveness. I did it out of courage, and I was courageous. I was not afraid. And I said, I'm going to get mine, and you're not going to keep what's mine away from me. That's the type of mentality that you're going to have to adopt. You're going to have to get that, because everybody don't have that. And I'm here to kind of help you get that. And I say kind of because I can't just give you that. That's something that you're going to have to get on your own, but I can kind of help you to understand how to tap into it, because every woman have braveness in you. You ever heard of mama bear? When a cub is trapped, or a lion is trying, they fighting the cub, mama bear stands up on her feet and she attacks the lion like, you not gonna mess with my babies. That's the type of a strength that we have in us as women. We have that in us. We just have to learn to bring it out of us and not be afraid to let it out. To know when to let it out and to know how to let it out. But it must come out when it's needed. And in this case, what you're going through, it is needed. Don't stand toe to toe with your husband. Use your brain, use your mind, and you go and you work around him while he's thinking he got it made, while he's thinking he ain't gonna, have to deal with you, or he's thinking that he's in the clear, that he's getting his way. Guess what? Your thoughts is working in a whole nother era. So like when you're going clockwise, your thoughts are going counterclockwise. You're going to rewind the time, and you're going to gain back your power. Where you left it at, where you gave it up at, where it was taken from, that's what you are going counterclockwise to get that back. We're going to get that back. So, to sum all that up, I did not lose my job. I did not go to work that day because it was very late by the time I was able to get my car. It was about 10 o'clock p.m. that night, and I had supposed to have been at work at 6 p.m. So I had already called my boss, and I explained to him. That's why I said the power of your voice. You need to speak out on what's going on with you. I explained to him what was going on with me. I was embarrassed. I'm not going to lie, I was. But he understood. And he said, go ahead, take off today, even take off tomorrow. You come back when you're ready. Your job is safe. You have your job. Because I spoke out and I let him know what was going on with me, it saved my job. And it helped me to be secure in what I had for myself. And I stayed at the job for 11 years. I became a coordinator, and I was supervising over 15 people. And I'm telling you, my progress bloomed because I took my power back. And now, after that situation, my ex-husband and I, we ended up divorcing. My first husband, that's my first husband. We ended up divorcing. We did. We divorced. We didn't divorce because he took my car. It was other matters that caused a divorce, but it was shortly after that, and that was it. But I do want you to understand that your life is yours and is yours only. It don't belong to somebody else.